So I'm here to report back. It was nearly 2 months ago that I recorded a tearful video under the title Nil by Mouth of a 50-year-old man who was facing a major crossroads in his life. It's funny because I'm talking about myself in the third person, but I watched back that video yesterday and it was very interesting to see myself through that lens. Clearly someone who was very disturbed by all that had gone on in the previous couple of years. If you've never watched that video, just to recount, in the space of 2 years my older brother died. I had to clear his house out. My dad died, had to clean out the family home, which was then sold, then care for my parents. Then my dad died, then my mother retreated into dementia completely. My business died in that time, and then finally the final crunch was the death of my marriage, and then having to move out as a family, and then finding myself basically about to become homeless again, and just not knowing what to make of it all and exactly what to do. I knew I was about to be homeless for a period of time, and I look at myself there and I can see that I'm carrying the weight of the world. I'd just gone through a really, really challenging couple of years, and there wasn't any obvious sign of what was going to happen and how to make good of this situation, because as I expressed there, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I choose to believe that because I think it makes sense of tragedy and the dramas that we have to live through as human beings, because life is difficult. There is no getting away from it, and it perpetually throws challenges up to us, and they're either going to teach us things. I mean, I do believe that pain is our greatest teacher. And so there I was saying, what do I do? And what I intended to do was, during that period of Lent, was to fast. And I was thinking that I was going to go for a full-on 40-day fast. I had previously fasted. The longest up to that point had been 23 days, and I was just like, this is a significant turning point in my life. I really want to go deep. I had the picture of Moses in the desert. It was like, I need to just go and get a vision and get some clarity about what was going on. But unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, it is what it is, but I live in the modern world, and there are things that I have to do to sustain myself and to connect with the world around me, and so it wasn't possible just to retreat to a mountain top and just pretend like I wasn't there and go through my own process. So I didn't complete a 40-day water fast. What I did was about 6 days, and then that was followed a few days later by another 4 days, and then by another 3 days, then another 2 days, and then another 2 days, and then another day and another day. And it was kind of getting more and more bitty throughout the period of Lent leading up to Easter Sunday. And before this period I was thinking, right, I'm going to go off, I'm going to fast, I'm going to just completely empty of myself, wait for a vision, and then on Easter Sunday with the just after the spring equinox, there would be the rising of the sun, and it would be me ready to embrace a new period of my life. Well, it didn't go exactly the way I imagined, but it wasn't so far off, because I'm definitely in a very different place right now to where I was just a month or so ago. And I hope if you're struggling right now that you might take some kind of inspiration or courage from that, because the transformation that I am feeling that has gone on in such a short period of time is quite miraculous, really, because I've gone from a place of thinking, oh God, what's to become of me, to now feeling really great, really excited, really happy to be alive, grateful for everything that's happened. And that must seem strange, and as if maybe I'm trying to tell myself that, but what I find is that this process of fasting is a real emptying out and allows for a lot of clarity. During that period of time, I moved to an old friend's house where I was able to just establish something of a routine. I was getting up with the sun every day. I was going to bed early. I began meditating. I was sun gazing every day, walking, cycling again. I hadn't been cycling for ages, and I was cycling every day. I was suffering with the cold during the early part of that fast because it was still quite wintry. There was lots of north winds, and we've had some amazing weather, and there was lots of sunshine, but there was still a bite in the air. And a friend of mine, someone who's got a lot of experience fasting, was like, is there not a sauna somewhere near you could go and benefit from? And there actually happened to be a sauna by the beach that allowed me to get into the hot and the heat and sweat it out and then go and plunge into the sea. And that reconnected me with the sea, because I used to swim in the sea, but I haven't done that much for quite some time. I was living inland, and now I'm back living by the sea. And through that process of fasting and then getting into the sauna, I'm now actually back into the sea. Whether I don't need a sauna, I can just go for a swim in the sea again. I've re-habituated to the sensation of the cold, and I've had some glorious days stretching, getting into my body again, being in the sun, being able to have my skin out and feeling like it's probably recharged my vitamin D levels. I'm the salt in the salt water and the salt that I was consuming whilst water fasting has undoubtedly helped to rebalance all my minerals and stuff. So I'm in a much healthier place. I've lost lots of weight. I went and did my first ever park run the other day. Did hurt my knees though. I don't know if I like this kind of running where you sort of have to do a certain distance, but yeah, I'm in a radically different place in terms of how I feel in myself. Much healthier. You can probably see in me that my skin is much better. I'm feeling radiant. I'm feeling great, and I feel really grateful for everything that's happened. So that might seem crazy. How could I be grateful for the fact that my partner in particular lost lots of money through trying to establish a business? We were trying to set up a forest school. It got blocked by all the neighbours. The financial pressures undoubtedly placed an enormous strain on our relationship, and may have been it certainly was one of the contributory factors to the end of that marriage. And it's funny because we were doing a marriage course. So I'm getting way ahead of myself. We were doing a marriage course when my wife finally went, you know what, I'm out. I'm out. We've got to separate. And she had been with me through this really difficult couple of years. We'd lost all this money in this business. How could I be grateful for that? Well, actually, do you know what? My heart wasn't in a forest school. I've always loved working in education, but I went to go and do that out of a kind of like, what can I do to earn some money now, rather than what is my calling? What do I really feel that I want to do in my life? What's my desire? What's my greatest wish? And although I've loved working in education, and I imagine that one day I'm going to be doing more work in the realm of education, but it's not yet. There's other things that I need to do for me first. So I'm grateful that business didn't work. I'm grateful that the neighbours all complained even before we'd opened our doors, because had they not, I would be running a forest school right now in a very half-hearted way. So thank goodness that the universe intervened and prevented that from happening. I'm grateful for the departure, for the death of my father. I'm grateful for the release it brought him. I'm grateful for the release it's brought me in a strange way, because I'm no longer, there are things that I think there was a certain pretense that I was trying to sustain to please him, or to try and show that I was making good on what he had given me. My parents had this very stable relationship. They'd been together it's nearly 60, I think it was 60 years in the end. And I wanted to be like that and show them that I could have this established marriage. And in fact, I wonder if the fact that my dad had died maybe took the pressure off my wife to be able to say, no, you know what, we've come to the end of the line. His regard not being there, And there are many other things in my life that I have not done because of being concerned about the judgment or the feelings or the whatever of my father. Like one thing in particular is my name. I was named Ian, but I was named by other people in my early 20s Ian, and yet my parents just could not accept that, and fair enough, they bought, I'll always be Ian to them, I get that, that's all right, but somehow it's like the presence of my father was stopping me from actually just going, no, this is who I really am. So I'm grateful for his death, in the sense that it was good for him, and I think it's good for me. I now feel like I have a clear road ahead of me. I don't have to, not that I had to have any concerns before, but it's just helped to clear something. And it's kind of the same with my mother. It's very sad to see her in this state of dementia where she doesn't even recognise me or acknowledge me or any of the family members that go to visit her. And it, it's tragic. But at the same time, she was always someone who had difficulty confronting reality. And her not being witness to my life, a bit like with my father, clears a space in a certain way. So it's a tragic thing, and it was really emotional watching her going into that. But I've had to go through this kind of this dark night of the soul in the last few months, this last couple of years, and especially this last 40 or so days. It's been 2 months, I think, since I uploaded that video, and now I'm starting to feel that real gratitude for how those circumstances, the effect that they've been having on me. So there was the business, there was my father, there was my mother, there was my older brother, who was also in some ways a burden to me, like, not that it was his fault, but there was something about his presence that was not allowing me to spread my wings and truly take the space that I want to in this world. So that's also strangely something to be grateful for. And funnily enough, their deaths meant that I ended up getting loads of tools that then presented me with the opportunity to earn money in a way that I had never done before, using my skills, practical skills, using my engineering skills to be able to help people in their homes. So I've been doing a kind of physical, gratifying work that I haven't ever done before, because I've been concerned with education and parents and children that are doing things and living in ways that I find very confusing, and now I don't have to feel like I'm trying to appease people. I can actually it's an opportunity for me to set my own standards, set my own work patterns, and really follow the calling that I have. And that's obviously part of why I'm feeling better now, because I can hear that calling. I can see a vision taking shape again. I've got a direction and a goal that I can be working towards, that I am working towards. There's such a big difference in how I'm feeling. So all of these tragic events, and then the end of a marriage that I was committed to, that I said, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Maybe to please my parents, maybe to convince myself that that's definitely the best thing in the world, but no matter what, that decision was taken out of my hands. It wasn't for me to decide anymore. It was just, that's the way it is. And I do believe that if you love someone, you've got to let them go. Maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't, but if you love someone, you've got to honour their freedom. And so that letting go process, I've let go of father, mother, business, brother, partner, and the presence, the living presence of my children. I never wanted to not be in the same house as my children, so that when they wake up in the morning, I'm the first person to be honoured with the beauty of their smiles and their laughter and their hugs. Such a magical thing. And yet I've since been waking up and going to the sea and watching the sunrise and spending hours in my own thoughts. My own sense of purpose and place in this world has been coming back to me, and I feel probably much better placed now to meet them in the way that I would like to, with the humour and the inspiration and the vitality that I would love to bring them as a father. So now a business is coming into view. Now the charity work that I want to do is becoming clear to me, and how I can integrate all these different things. And my health is back, I'm coming back. Now it's interesting, since stopping the period of fasting, I'm kind of letting myself go, and I know that one day I've got an appointment with a major fast, but it seems to not be yet. That's gonna have to come at some point in the future. But for now, reporting back, I'm sure you could have probably watched 30 seconds of this and got the sense of how different I am in my presence compared to that first nil by mouth video. All I can say is that I think I was onto something. That video, its title I think was when you see that when your life is falling apart, and you know, it's things have to break down to come back together again. It's part of the process of the universe. You know, like things die and then they come back to life, and if you can let go and go with those processes, it just happens so much more smoothly. And I cannot advocate enough to people to consider fasting and the process that it unleashes for you. If you can buy yourself some time to just go away and be nil by mouth, just drink some water, allow your body to re-establish its healthy mechanisms, reconnect with the natural world, and it's just incredible the transformation that can happen. Now, it's early days, it's spring, we've had lots of sunshine. I might not feel like this in the coming months. I will keep reporting back so that you can see how things change and develop, because I feel like an honest portrait of this would have to, you know, endure for some time. But today I'm just checking in to say I am feeling much better in myself. And there were a couple of people that reached out to me and made comments to that first video, and I wanted to say that I really appreciated them. I really, you know, it's quite something to hear strangers reflecting back and, you know, sharing warmth from afar. So thank you. Do keep sharing your comments, and yeah, much love.